to my very first video for the Palo, Alto, Vato. Vato is just dude in Spanish, so Palo Alto dude. Um, I wanted to kind of do a quick rundown on, I guess, templates, and it's just kind of a dry run right now. I don't have any kind of agendas going on, but I wanted to talk about template and template stacks in Panorama. And right now I'm running Panorama on PanOS version 10.0. So with this, let's just kind of discuss what a template is. All right, and a template basically has two elements of a Palo Alto firewall, which would be the network tab, right, and then the device tab of a Palo Alto firewall. With this, you have an opportunity to have multiple templates. Let's say this big box is what we call a template stack. Within any individual template stack, we can have multiple templates in there. So within here, let's say, in my example, I have a global template, right? And then within here, we have another one. Let's say this would be maybe best practices. And this is just some stuff that I'm making up. And let's say we have device specific template. Just for example, we have these ones. And again, the templates in Panorama only mess with network and device tabs of the firewall. So when you're stacking templates, you have to consider that in the event of overlapping subnets, overlapping configuration, the template at the top will take precedence. Precedence, I think that's how it is. In other words, will win. So with overlapping configuration, the template at the top will take precedence. Technically will win. And you got to think about the different scopes as well. So let's write out, let's do template scopes. And I don't even know if this is a real terminology, but template scopes, basically the global template will only be able to see the global template scope values, right? The best practices template will only be able to see the best practices template values. And same thing for device, right? But in order to, let's say we have a network zone and we want to call this untrust. for example. Right? We're going to give all of the firewalls this template, and we're just going to standardize zone names. But under the device specific template, let's say this is a PA220, right? Which the PA220 only has 8 Ethernet interfaces. Copper interfaces, right? So basically what you would want to do in order to use ETH1 8 on the Palo Alto 220, you want to define that as untrust. You won't be able to define that within the device specific template. That will not be able to happen right here. That's not possible. Right? The only way that you could get that Ethernet 1.8 to have that association with the untrust zone, which is coming down from the global template, is to modify the template stack. So basically anything that's defined in this template stack could be used. So if you wanted to associate Ethernet 1.8 to an untrust, the zone called untrust coming from a global template, what you would do is actually modify the template stack, right? So this would be ETH1.8 would be equal to untrust, just for an example. Technically that would be red in my world. But let's say we gave this template stack name just example stack name, right? Or maybe I'll even call it whatever, banana. Maybe I'll do Palo Alto stack name. Maybe I'll just name it that. So within the template stack itself, you technically change the template scope so that anything you define within the templates you would be able to use in the template stack. And I can show you an example of this. So basically, in my template stack, let's say I have this JD -VM underscore stack that has a global template, JD VM, and VM-100 L3 template. You can see the devices that are associated with this stack is my device called JD-VM. If I open this guy up, and again this is in Panorama tab, templates, and then I'm clicking on the individual stack. But basically, we can define which hierarchy we want. So, and it tells you right here, the template at the top of the stack has the highest priority in the presence of overlapping config. So, if I go and look at the zones defined in the global template, you can see I don't have anything. Let me create one. Right? And global zone. And then untrust. Right? And I named it, I gave it a tap interface. Let me just change that just for good measure. Just make it a layer 3. Right? So I have this zone. I have this created basically. If I go down, and here's my stack, the JD. If I go down to JD-VM, and here's all of my zones, you can see global doesn't exist here. And if I want to assign that zone to Ethernet 1.8, I won't be able to. Use slot 1, unless you're using VM or Palo Alto 7000 series stuff. I'll just define a default router, and if I select the security zone, you can see I don't have the global dash zone dash untrust here. The only way I can do that, you can see that these two have different scopes. So the only way I can do that is if I go into the JDVM stack itself, and then I'm going to try to add back that up. Let me create the interface in the JDVM. So let's give it slot 1, interface name Ethernet 1.8, VSys1. I'll pop this over to the layer 3, and I won't leave any, I'll just leave everything else as is. So now that I have that there, I'll go back to the JDVM stack, and I can see that now the interface appears. What I can do now is override this, and now I can select the security zone we created, the global zone untrust. You see that? Yeah, I can define a virtual router or whatever. I'll just choose this one. Right now I don't have any traffic going through there. And so, if I go ahead and commit and push, and basically we can look at our status under summary. And let me go to the firewall itself. Wait for this commit. Watch them paint dry. Luckily this isn't a PA200 or 220 or a 4000 series or a 2000 series. And if you got those, I apologize. And I feel sorry for you. Because you guys know how it is. You guys or gals. Come on. Boom, there we go, finally. We do a quick little refresh on this guy, and then you can see Ethernet 1.8 has a global zone of untrust, and all of this is being managed by Panorama. You can tell by the gear icon, the green gear icon specifically. If we come over here, we can see global zone untrust. And yeah, that pretty much does it for my take on templates scope and templates stacks. So again, kind of recapping, I think these templates have their own scope, right? Basically, we create the zone names in global template, but if we want to use those zones defined in the global template in, let's say, this device specific template, the only way that we can do that is if we use it in the stack itself and not in the individual templates. One thing that I did miss essentially is going into the JDVM, going to the interfaces, and just defining the interface here, creating it without any association with virtual router or security zone. I did that in the stack. So, and that's right here. Basically, I overrid the value and gave it global zone untrust. But yeah, that's just my idea of a simple example of template stacks and templates within the stacks, and what I refer it to as template scopes. But I hope that was helpful. Like, subscribe, send me comments, feedback, bad comments, good comments, whatever. Maybe I'll get back to you. But thank you so much. Appreciate it.